Just calling you. How you doing?
Hey, Joe, I'm doing pretty good. You got Scott and Collin Brown in here with you, and also a young lady that joined us tonight. She's a Jeff Gordon fan. She's all decked out. Her name is Kay. Anyway.
How you doing, Kay?
I'm doing really well. How are you doing tonight?
I can't complain. It doesn't do no good. Nobody listens anyway.
That's right. I have a pity party, but nobody comes.
That's right.
She would get along with Al, I can tell already. All right, Joe, I know you and I had a lot of talking that we did out at Martinsville and everything. And one of the reasons I wanted to get you on here was just that you had so much knowledge of stuff that was going on behind the scenes, people that you know, like you're like one of those type of people you get to know and should know you just so you can meet everybody else out there. Give everybody a little back. Do what?
I've been around a while, I guess. I'm showing my age. I'm 55 years old, but I've been around racing just mostly all my life.
Well, tell everybody how you managed to wiggle yourself into racing and what you've been up to lately.
Well, a long time ago when I was a teenager, I worked for H.B. Bailey back in Texas, helping out there on late models and NASCAR, and even got to know A.J. Floyd. So that's basically how I got my start. And some friends of mine did drag racing, the gays out of Texas, and if it had a motor in it, I just about kind of went over there and got involved in it. Even used like Silver Crown Racing with Jackie Burke out of Houston, Texas, and A.J. Floyd also did it too. So after all those years, I'm still doing NASCAR. I've worked with Mike Wallace, David Starr, and Midler Brothers, just to name a few.
Cool. Now, you were just telling me all the different things. Now, the two guys that came in at the Japanese restaurant we were at Martinsville, who were they that came in?
That was Joe and Clayton. They are with Mark Truex. Clayton is the spotter for Mark Truex on the 78 car, and then Joe is the general manager over Mark Truex's team over, I guess it's Furniture Row.
Yeah.
Denver, I believe, is where they're at.
And now I know you guys are regulars over at that Japanese steakhouse, but now these guys are only here twice a year, and they seem to know them just like if they were brothers and sisters to you guys,
They come and we meet there all the time. It's just a couple days before race day, they're always there, and usually the day before race day they come in and eat some of that good food that they have at Yamato, I guess, and sit around and talk racing.
Yeah, and you try to fill me up on kamikazes too, I tell you.
Yeah, I think they got to me on that myself.
I gave mine to the girls next to me. So, all right, we've been having a rather exciting past couple of weeks here in NASCAR. What's your feel on all the stuff that's been going on?
I can't even explain where to start. Just everything I've seen as far as the Cup racing, what's happened over the last couple of weeks, involvement with Matt Kenseth and Joey Logano. I guess I got my own personal opinion about it. I shouldn't say nothing involved with the NASCAR team, but I don't think what he did was right. I mean, I'm surprised they didn't park him for the rest of the year. Just what I know about NASCAR, that's took basically somebody out of a championship. At Kansas, that was racing. You get that close to somebody, take the air off of a car, whether you touched him or not, it's racing. It's close racing.
Yeah.
But deliberately taking somebody out, that to me, I'm surprised they didn't bang him for the rest of the year and part of the next year.
Well, I mean, it's one of those things that you're going to see sooner or later. Somebody's going to do it.
Well, that's true. I mean, if you do it, you got to look at it this way. All three series, you're going to pay the consequences, pay the penalty for it. NASCAR is just not going to really put up with that. Not only is it a small track where they did it at, you could still get hurt. If Joe Logano would have turned upside down and the car caught on fire, which those cars hold 18 gallons of gasoline, and just not much headroom in those cars to start with. If you would got trapped in there, and you got seriously burned or even killed. Just cause what you just did.
Yeah, that's one of the things too that most people don't look at is you always have the worst side of it, and of course the best side. And apparently everybody took it as the best side because I know you were sitting in your recliner watching it, but people just went crazy out there. They just thought it was the neatest thing that he took him out.
Right. I mean, the fans kind of like that, I guess, but go back to the safety part of it. What would happen if Joey Logano, and I know Joey and his team pretty well, if he would have got trapped upside down in that car and caught on fire and got burned to death? Kids would have to think about that the rest of his life, what he did.
Yeah. I mean, the thing about with racing, everybody has to face that demon no matter what. If they're going to take and do a payback for something that happened, they're taking the other driver's lives into their hand, and vice versa. If you're the one that causes the other problem in the beginning to where the payback has to come, you've basically done the same thing, because you don't know what you may do when you do what you do. Even something as a simple nudge to scoot somebody up, you're hopefully racing somebody that has the ability that you tap them and scoot them up. That's all they're going to do is scoot up, and you're going to just turn left and go underneath them and take the position away.
Right. Like, we can get back to racing. I mean, it's part of racing. I mean, you get out there, things are going to happen, and it can happen. If you're racing somebody real hard and you're trying to get around them and you have a slower car and you're blocking him, that driver's going to do everything he can to get around that car, whether it's a place or just to get around him. And if you block him, you're going to make him mad after a while, and he's going to eventually try to get around you any way he can.
Cool. What's been some of the neat, warm, fuzzy things you've had to experience around the racing you've been around?
What was it, Roger? I didn't quite hear what you said.
I said, with all the stuff you've done in racing, what's been one of those warm and fuzzy, good feeling things that you've seen happen?
Well, about the funniest thing I've ever done, basically in NASCAR racing, back in the day with H.B. Bailey, I put a cigarette lighter in his NASCAR. He smoked cigars, and he would, during caution, light one up. And there's a couple of other race car drivers did the same thing. I think David Pearce did it, and not sure if Kelly Arple might have, a few other ones, but he definitely had a cigarette lighter right there in his race car, because I remember putting it in when I was younger.
Was there an ashtray in the car somewhere to set the cigar when he had to go back to racing?
No, not at all. I've heard of drink holders in the car before, but no ashtrays.
Yeah, I knew there used to be a couple of drivers would have cigarettes taped to the dash so that under caution they could pull one up, light it up, and take a break.
Back in the open helmet
That
days.
is,
Uh-huh.
Yeah, back in the good old open helmet days.
Yeah, somebody used to tape chewing gum to the dash, and it'd be like every 100 laps they'd get themselves a new piece of chewing gum, but it was just taped to the dash. Individual wrapped pieces of gum.
I am trying to remember who did that, and it was one of the famous drivers back in those days, and I can't remember exactly who it was.
Yeah, I can't remember who it was.
That is a true story.
Yeah.
We can find out later.
Yeah.
So I have a question for
go.
Joe.
Okay, go ahead and ask you.
So getting back to the Matt Kenseth thing, what do you think the conversation was between the driver and the owner after that incident?
Well, knowing Joe Gibbs and pretty well, he's a pretty Christian man there, and he doesn't put up with that. He's had several drivers have done that, and he even fined Kyle Busch at one time for doing all that. And I don't think it went over very big with him, my personal opinion about it. Now, whether he lied him or not, we really don't know. But I know for sure, when Kyle wrecked Ron Hornaday back in Texas, the Truck Series, not only did he set out 2 races, Mr. Gibbs kind of
Well, in today's world, the owner has a lot of responsibility for how he represents the sponsors, and so if there's an issue on the track, that's one of the first things I'm sure the owner has to do is call the sponsor with an apology or whatever and try to have a conversation about it. I'm sure, so it puts them in a bad position.
Well, it does. Basically, Matt Kenseth had to sit out 2 races. Well, that team, the crew chief and the guys that work on the car, they got somebody else they got to put in the race car. Plus, the sponsors are basically looking for Matt Kenseth to go out there and race because that's his race car that he's driving, and they're the sponsor. And when he does that, it kind of puts a bad name in the people that are sponsoring that car. Like, well, this driver did this, now he's going to sit out. It kind of gives a bad name to everybody that's affiliated with that race car team.
Well, back in the old day, before a lot of things got changed around, everybody was looking for stuff like this. I mean, that was the original first full-length race that they put out there when the 2 drivers get in a big fight in the back stretch and everything else. Everybody loved it. That's what everybody expects. And nowadays, now that corporate America is in the middle of everything, they're worried about getting a little bad press. And I used to remember when everybody would say any press is better than no press.
Right. It changed a bunch. I remember back in the old days with A.J. Foyt, he would get mad and grab wrenches from some of the crew members and throw them at everybody, including officials. If A.J. had a wrench in his hand, it was time to kind of get away from him.
Well, what do you think about the Final Four? So NASCAR couldn't have scripted that any better, could they?
No, I mean, that's it. The way they've done it, it's different. Basically, anybody can win the thing at the end, or they can lose. So it's got to the point where it's a lot of hard racing out there, especially to the end now. And you don't know who's going to win it until the last lap of the race at Homestead, who's going to win the
This
championship.
is MySpace. Cool.
But you're right, the Hollywood script is perfect.
Yeah.
Because if, Kyle Busch had that horrible accident, Jeff Gordon's last season,
Yeah.
Martin Truex, the only
Just
team outside
Cinderella,
of
yeah.
North Carolina.
Mhm.
And then
And
the
then
previous
they're
year,
an attorney, yeah.
previous year's champion.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I can't get a better mix than that.
No.
All right, Joe, who's your pick to win?
Who do I pick to win? Wow. I don't know. I mean, you can't have 4 winners, I guess. You can have 3 losers. And I know, I hate to say this, I know them all.
I know, that's the hard part, isn't it?
Well, it's not who's your favorite, just who do you think's going to pull it out? Who's going to
I mean,
finish the deal?
I really don't know. I'd say probably Kyle Busch has got a shot at it. He drives pretty good. Martin Truex came a long ways for a single team. Harvick's there. Jeff Gordon. Anybody can win. It's that close. It's just a matter of a few points to separate each other.
All right,
Anything can happen.
so we'll swing it the other way. Who's your sentimental favorite to win?
I would say probably Martin Truex. He's going to give it a guy. Plus, I was told by his manager and his spotter, if they win, some of us from Martinsville might be going to Denver for a big party.
Well, you can throw my name in the hat too.
That's what I'm talking about. Well, you heard me say we might have a great big party in Denver, so I'm hoping we'll all get to go.
There you go. All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and let you get out of here, Joe. I enjoyed having you be able to call in and talk with us. Another time we'll get together on a topic and pull you in here. What do you think?
Sounds like a great thing. Come on out there and hang out with us there with our team. I'm with Mitchell Brothers Racing, and we'll have a new driver next year driving for us. He's driving for us this weekend. Bobby Pearce will be with us full time, and we're probably going to have some other drivers too. be racing with us, some new talent. You know, that's what Miller Brothers did.
Cool. Still there?
Might have lost him.
At the very end.
Drove in a tunnel.
Yeah.
Oh well, go ahead and hang it. But yeah, I enjoyed visiting with him over to Martinsville weekend.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's good he has that personal connection with the Truex team already, so that makes it a little more exciting for him.
Yeah,
You know.
he gets to meet up with those guys pretty often, and knowing a lot of the other players, people in the background,
Mm-hmm.
it's always nice to have somebody's got their ear to the grindstone thing, you know.
It's going to be exciting, the football game, Virginia Tech and Tennessee
Over in Bristol.
in Bristol.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When's that coming up anyway?
Is it?
Is it next year? Or is it
I
later
think
this
it's
year?
How are they going to pull
2017.
that off anyway?
Oh, that's
So
right. It's
the-
2017.
It'll be
That's
the fall race after the which is in August, and then I guess they'll level everything and
I think
except for whatever they're going to use as a locker room, I guess, and then they'll put the field in.
Yeah, they're just gonna haul in a bunch of dirt, basically,
Yeah.
and sod it out.
Yeah.
And they have it, if you see the track, they have the end zone, or last year they had the end zone marked, and then one side was Tennessee and one side was
Oh, they
Virginia
did?
Tech
Okay.
painted in their colors.
Okay. All right.
So,
Yeah. Well, that's
They've
gonna
got a
be cool.
plan.
Yeah, well, both schools draw well, and I don't know how far a drive that is for Tennessee. I mean, I realize it's right there on the border, but how far, what is it, Knoxville?
Knoxville.
How far is Knoxville from there? I don't know. Probably not a long drive.
Closer than
Like
it
5
is
hours?
from here.
Yeah, I mean, Knoxville is what, East Tennessee, right?
Probably like, what, 5 hours in?
I don't
Maybe.
know.
Yeah,
I don't
or
know.
less.
But yeah, that's going to be interesting to see. And it's the right kind of stadium, setup for that too.
Oh, it's
So
going to be great.
they can really get
It's
a lot
going
of
to be
people
loud in
on
there,
there.
too.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be loud.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So that'll be kind of cool.
So do you think one of the championship contenders is actually going to win at Homestead?
I don't know. That'll be interesting. So like Harvick and all four of them last year ran at times right up there, and they were all really in the hunt for it last year. And even Newman, which was probably the most unlikely person, ran second in that race.
Mm-hmm.
Harvick won the race, and he had just come off a win in Phoenix. I think Joey had trouble, right? Didn't Joey have like an issue on pit road or something, and that kind of took him out
bad
early?
stop.
And who was the other contender last year that was?
Newman?
Newman finished second in the
Was it
race.
Carl Edwards?
Oh, it was Denny Hamlin.
Denny Hamlin.
Denny.
Denny Hamlin, yeah. And I think he had moments during the race where he was up there, especially late in the race. I believe he may have even taken the lead for some period of time. But I don't know if they'll have that same luck this year, or if the person that wins it finishes 30th and everybody else finishes worse than that. I don't know.
Yeah, if there's a supposed big one in the middle of the race, you never know.
They're going to have to put bubble wrap on all four cars
Yeah.
to be sure no one touches them. They get to race with different rules than everybody else, so
And we
they'll
had,
look funny running around the track with the bubble wrap, I guess.
we had that discussion last week.
Yeah.
It's, and like Al was talking about, Ryan Ellis, who's our next caller, he's going to be running in the Cup Series. And this is his first time. No, he wasn't the first one we had, but Ryan's going to be a newcomer
Mhm.
running out there.
Mhm.
He just did Phoenix. But who was it that was ran last week? Talked to.
Let's talk racing.
Hey, it's Ryan Ellis. Sorry, I forgot you. I was supposed to call you.
Oh, don't worry about all them text messages then, Ryan. I tell you.
No, I know. I always forget. I had another call at 7 o'clock, so I was like, oh, it's going to call me, and then I was like, oh, God, that's too late.
And you even told me to remind you in the text, and I did. I don't know. Do you listen to your spotter as well?
Yeah, I tried.
Anyway, we got Ryan Ellis on the line. Ryan, give a quick bio about yourself so the people listening will know a little bit something about you.
You say tell them a little bit about myself? Sorry, I can't hear you that well.
Yes.
Yes. Short bio.
Okay, but yeah. Yeah, I've been racing for 21 years now, and ever since I was 4 years old, so I've been racing for quite a while, a lot longer than a a little bit older than me, but I think I've been in the top 3 series of Truck, Xfinity, and Cup here for 2 or 3 years now, and made my first start last weekend, only a few days ago, and trying to make it in the sport. It's obviously more of a business than it is a sport right now, but I've been battling for every inch I can get, and been part-time, which obviously I don't like, but working on getting full-time.
Cool. Now, you're racing for which team?
In Cup, Hillman Racing, Circle Sport in the number 33, Science Logic Chevrolet, but in trucks, Make Motorsports, and Xfinity, Rick Ware, and Obica Racing, a little bit of everybody.
Whoever to let you climb through the window, huh?
Oh yeah, I mean, whatever the best opportunity is that week, I try to find it, obviously, while I'm trying to balance some loyalty to the teams that have helped me out. But overall, it's kind of nice to not have some commitment this year because it's allowed me to really find out which opportunity is the best every week and work with that.
Cool.
Did you say your Cup ride was the number 33?
Yeah, number 33, Landon Castle teammate.
When did that become a open number? I thought for years that was still a Childress number.
Yeah, it's part-time an RCR affiliation, I guess they're calling it,
Okay.
where RCR is using their equipment, their people. So it's kind of a whole different operation when it's their number, and that's been about half the season, I think, this year,
Okay.
with Brian Scott, Ty Dillon, and part of the time with myself, Alex Kennedy, BJ McLeod,
Okay.
and Travis Guapo as well.
Okay.
And if I remember, the team, the owners, aren't they based out of my area over here in Virginia Beach area?
Yeah, Joe Falk is another Virginia boy, so really cool to work with another Virginia guy. Obviously, I think he was pretty proud of that this last weekend. I saw in a lot of interviews he mentioned that. And I used to race with his nephew, CE, and Wes Falk. And it's pretty cool to work with him. He was a really great guy. Just one that you know, especially in a whole group and a whole garage full of people you probably don't know very well when you're stepping into it.
Yeah, the Falk group, I know most of them, which is strange. I don't know Joe, but I know CE, I know Wes, I know Albert, but I don't know Joe. Go figure.
Oh, Joe's a good dude. Yeah, I met him probably about 6 months ago this year when I was trying to put some deals together, and I only knew CE and Wes and their family, so I just got to know him, and CE and Wes were a couple rivals of mine, really good friends back when I was running Legends cars all over Virginia, North Carolina, that area, so it's cool just to work with the Falk family in general.
Hey, Ryan, this is Collin Brown, legend car driver in Virginia.
How's it going, man?
Good. I mean,
Pretty good.
so what are some things that you've learned racing both trucks and Xfinity, and what are some things that you feel like you need to improve on for next year?
Yeah, I think a lot of the stuff that I've learned this year has just been racing other guys, and the ability to run more full races and not obviously start and park has helped me a lot. Just learn how aero benefits and hurts these cars and trucks. I've never ran anything that you could really side draft with well, or lose air on the front, lose air on the side of the car, and I think I've just gained a lot of knowledge in that area. But overall, I think the thing I need to work on most is pit road. I think my Cup race last weekend was my second and third ever green flag pit stops, and I probably ran 20 races between Xfinity and truck, but every time we hit in those two series, it seems like it's under yellow. So I got a lot to learn as far as entering, exiting the pit box, and just overall racecraft, I think, and how to manage lap traffic. Obviously, when you're racing at short tracks in your local area, you're not getting lapped too often, but when you're in a backmarker Cup or Xfinity car, you're getting lapped pretty often, just from the higher budget teams, and you have to learn how to manage that traffic to your benefit and not lose too much time.
Yeah, I would imagine you guys are having to learn the pit stops and so forth in not ideal conditions either, because the better pit stalls are probably already gone, so you guys are having to learn in probably adverse conditions.
Yeah, definitely. And like this weekend, I'm used to the FDNY racing crew, which is 3 guys, literally, and their average age is about 62 years old. So I've been yelled at all year by them for coming in too fast. And my first cup stop, they yelled at me for going too slow. It's a lot of knowing who you're working with. And the second stop, I came in a lot harder, and I know you're supposed to lock the brakes up. And it's just a lot of stuff that you don't practice unless you're obviously in the middle of a race run. So it doesn't come with any more practice or anything more than just doing race runs and getting full races. So it's been tough, but I feel like I'm learning it pretty quickly.
Okay, now they don't take it and say, hey, why don't you come by the shop when you're down in Charlotte or Mooresville or wherever the shop is and say, hey, let's do a few pit stop practices so that we can get it right.
Yeah, I don't know if they do pit stop practices with a lot of the smaller teams. I don't know if they're just rented pit crew that practice at RCR, especially for Hillman Racing. I know for like other small teams like BK Racing, they have their own pit crews they train in-house. So I'm not even sure if they do pit stop practice at Hillman Racing. There's not really an area around the shop for them to do it at. But I would totally benefit from that kind of stuff, so I would love to do that. I know it's a lot of development driver work. They work on that kind of stuff, and I'd love to do it, but I don't think a lot of the smaller cup teams and Xfinity teams do that as well.
Now, don't some of the teams go to like the Technical Institute down there and snag some of the teams there and have them come out and do the pit stops for you guys? Maybe you can go out there and do it at the Technical Institute and just do it right there with those guys.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely something that, I've never really thought of, but that's something I'm going to reach out to over the off season and see if I can work with a pit school or someone similar and just come in and learn how to slide the tires well enough. And I know every surface is different, but just going in and knowing how to hit your marks and go from the fast lane to the transitionary lane to the actually sliding the box, making sure you don't drive through too many boxes. That's all stuff that I really need to learn.
Yeah, the old saying, better safe than sorry, is probably going to be the better route to take.
Oh, absolutely. And I have friends that, when they're development drivers, they're doing that 5 days a week for 8 hours. So it's tough. It's not that I'm horrible at it, it's just that everybody else is perfect at it, So it's just about catching up to them.
I've seen a lot of them that aren't too perfect at all, let me tell you. So as long as you're not running over one of your pit crew members, you're doing pretty good.
I would think Childress probably has a little spot to practice.
Yeah, I'm sure Childress has a spot to practice too.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Okay, you guys got any more questions for him? Then we can go ahead and let him head on down the road. Well, let me go ahead and let you get out of here, Ryan. Go ahead and have fun down at Homestead. Kick butt.
So
have fun. All that good stuff.
If you don't win the race, who's going to win?
Oh, I'm not running this weekend.
Oh, you're not? Oh, man.
Okay.
Let's see. Cup. I would go with Harvick. I know he seems like the easy pick, and honestly, it seems like Gordon's the underdog. I'm rooting for Gordon, but I think it's easy to pick Harvick, and I know Truex is right there after. If I were to choose, I'd say Harvick, then Truex, and Kyle Busch, but then Gordon. But I'm rooting for Gordon, and I think Harvick's going to take it.
All right.
Cool.
Good deal.
All right. Well, hopefully you enjoyed racing out there at Phoenix. I know we didn't get a chance to touch much on that.
Oh, I had a great time.
Well, good. All right, Ryan, let me go ahead and let you get out of here. We've got Tim on the other line here waiting to talk himself up a bunch as well. And I will get back up with you. All right, bud?
All right, thank you very much for having me on, guys.
All right, no problem.
Thanks.
Hey, Tim, how's it going?
Hey, guys, how's it going?
We're talking racing. What are you doing? Hello? You still there? Hello? Tim? Can you hear us?
Hey, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I think so.
Does this sound like a Verizon commercial?
It is like a Verizon commercial. Did you hear us? We just
I
didn't
can
hear.
hear you guys. It's going in and out. I'm in the Keys right now, so it's hand driving. So I got some scatter service.
Sucks to be you, I guess.
Hey, you need to run into Ray Black Jr. He'll show you a good place to go doing some snorkel diving and everything. Some snorkeling.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, I talked to him at Martinsville, and that's one of the things he loves. And since he's got those scuba sponsors, hey, get all that stuff for free. Go rock and roll.
Well, I need to hit him up. He's coming to my New Year's party, so I'm going to tell him to bring some of that good stuff.
There you go. There you go. You can tell him I sent him to you too. Anywho, so you're getting ready to do your first Xfinity race now?
Yeah, I'm going to be doing my first Xfinity race this weekend at Homestead. I'm very excited, so it should be a treat. We'll see what happens.
All right. Go ahead and give everybody a quick bio about how you got into racing and everything, so everybody learns a little something about you.
Sure. Well, I was a little bit different than a lot of these guys from North Carolina. We touched on it last time I was called in and talked to you guys, but I got a late years now. Started out pro mini and went to a pro late model and then super late.
We're losing it. Want to tell him to try to call again?
Hey,
See if we
Tim.
got a different line?
I think you took a right turn at the tiki bar.
You didn't run into the water,
Like I
did
said,
you?
I mean,
Hello, Tim.
he's probably taking a sip of his pina colada or something about it now. That's why he's not talking that much.
Can you hear us, Tim?
I think he said he could hear us, but we couldn't.
Okay, that makes
He's
sense.
going to try again.
So I'm not familiar. Tim is Tim.
Tim Viens, V-I-E-N-S.
Okay, thank
Is
you.
that you, Tim?
Can you hear me better?
Yeah.
We'll find out in the next couple of minutes anyway.
Find a coat hanger and some tinfoil.
I was using my girlfriend's phone because she's got a full battery. Mine's on 20%.
Oh, we won't burn up that whole battery. I was going to say either that or find a coat hanger and some tinfoil and hold that in your other hand.
He's driving.
Yeah, exactly.
or have her do it if you're doing the driving.
Yeah, there you go.
Go back, because we missed part of what you were saying about, you said you didn't get, or you got off to a late start, so start from there and tell us again. We missed part of it.
Yeah, I mean, I've only been racing for about 6 years now. I got into it late. I had a sports marketing firm, RaceDaySponsor.com. That's how I kind of came around the sport and the whole bit. And had an opportunity to jump in a car in North Carolina to do a driving school, and absolutely just fell in love and been racing every weekend since. My local track is New Smyrna Beach. I live in Daytona, and I went basically from a mod mini to a pro truck to a pro late model to a late model and on to ARCA, and it just progressed, and it's just been a fun ride.
Well, Xfinity,
And, now I'm getting ready to make my debut in Xfinity series.
yeah, are you nervous with the Xfinity Championship is also in the balance, I guess, and being out there running with those guys this weekend?
Sorry.
No, I mean, I had the opportunity to run with a lot of these guys in the truck series this year. We did a handful of races. So not really nervous. I definitely am, going to dot my I's and cross my T's and just make sure that, I'm not interfering with anybody out there that's trying to compete for a championship, and, just put laps down, have a good clean run so I can, move on and go to Daytona.
Cool. Now, you're running in one of Mike Harmon's cars, I take it, right?
Yes, the 74.
Cool. So this will be your first time riding with him, and is he giving you some pretty good insights, or are you relying on some of the other drivers that you're meeting to get some information about the race?
Yeah, I mean, he's going to, I've never raced at Homestead, so he's definitely going to, give me a lot of inside information and, where to be and where the lines are and all that good stuff. I was supposed to make my Xfinity debut at, I think it was Kentucky, and I was about to jump in the car and go out for practice, and it started raining, so practice got canceled. So I had to turn a couple laps before they would let me qualify and start the race. So we got postponed, and now here we are at a Homestead. So
Should have put on some rain tires and go out there and go get it.
yeah, exactly.
Well, with rain in the desert last week, it's no telling what you guys. Maybe a hurricane is on the way or something to South Florida. I don't know. That was a weird thing.
Well, I tell you, I looked at the forecast, and it does not look good for the whole weekend. So
Oh, it doesn't? That's not good.
It's thunderstorms every single day.
Well, that's Florida, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it could be worse. Remember one year at Daytona, they had to shut it down because of the fires?
Oh,
Yeah.
across the
Yeah.
highway.
Yeah.
Everybody was kicking out for that. Now, couple of people you might want to talk to. Go visit Eric McClure. He's been around the Xfinity Series for a while. He'll be back in that area with you racing hard, so you might want to get to know him real good before you exchange bumpers. But yeah, Eric's a pretty good guy, so you should go check with him. He'll give you some insight on the track.
Yeah, absolutely. I've made some good friends this year, so I've got some good resources and some friends to talk to and get some insight. So we should be good to go.
What do you think about our little young boy superstar Eric there?
Jones?
Yeah.
Oh man, he's a stud. Kid's got a lot of talent. He'll definitely be running the Sprint Cup here. I think they're holding him back. He's probably ready to go now, but.
Oh yeah, he's ready to go.
Yeah, he's definitely ready to go. He's got what it takes, and he's going to have a fun career.
Do you think he's going to run into a situation like some of the other young ones that came in and they threw him out real heavy and hard and just too much expectation and wasn't able to deliver what they would hope?
Well, have they said are they planning on bringing him up next year? Is that what their plan is at this point, or do you know?
Nowhere to bring it.
Rumors. That's all I can say.
Yeah. Some of those guys have been thrown into it, and the nerves or whatever. I feel like has gotten the best of them, but I don't know. I think that kid. I think he's got what it takes. I think he's done fine.
Yeah, because you got a lot of teams that work together. I mean, look at with Clint Boyer. He's going to go run for H. Scott and then turn around and be running for Stuart Haas the following season. So don't be surprised to see Eric appear somewhere in a local Sprint Cup race near you, and then the next year be in the Joe Gibbs stable.
I'm happy for him. He deserves it. He's a good driver, that's for sure.
So Tim, this is Kay. I'm just a fan, but I have a question for you.
Sure.
What about being a promoter before you entered racing has helped you be a race car driver?
I've been asked that before, and it's a great question. And I think it has definitely helped me because, when I came into this sport as a novice, and I never even watched a NASCAR race, to be honest with you, and I kind of fell into this whole thing and the marketing side of it. And when you're out there selling sponsorship and selling drivers and promoting people, you see the other side of it and what sponsors are looking for and what they want. They want someone not only, that the entire package that's good looking, that's, is kind and friendly and, talks to their customers and represents them good and everything. And, so to be honest with you, when I came into the sport, some of these guys, they've been around for a long time and they have these chips on their shoulder. And it's, kind of unfortunate, and I've seen the chip on the shoulder end up biting them, and, they didn't last in the sport because they didn't have the sponsorship, and it went away. So I think for me, it's definitely, I've seen the other side of it, so I know what's important to sponsors and those different things, and that's, being out there, shaking hands and thanking them and, participating and being their friends and those types of things. And it makes a big difference when you're really looking for sponsorship dollars and stuff.
Have you helped some people on sponsorships and all of a sudden they're much further along the game plan than you are?
Not necessarily drivers. I don't really represent like drivers like that. You know, we do sponsorship for teams. Tommy Baldwin Racing, Premium Motorsports, both those programs in the Sprint Cup. Obviously Mike Herman in the Xfinity Series. But not really representing drivers, but I've brought some good-sized sponsors to some of those programs.
Cool. Yeah, that's back in the
It's
old.
going to help me get into a Sprint Cup seat at some point.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Yeah, that's the what I always used to call the old school way. The teams got the sponsors. The teams went and shopped the drivers. That way they could test different drivers and see how well they're going to do, and then move them up through the ranks. But nowadays, the guys are grabbing the rides that got bucks already in their pockets, ready to move right in.
Yeah, it seems nowadays, I mean, that's the majority. I've seen some guys that, you know, are talent, and they've been watched and groomed and the whole bit, and, you know, they deserve everything they get. And then, you know, there is a lot of guys that, you know, have found big sponsors and that are family friends or whatever it is. It helped them get to, you know, the next level for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen many really good drivers, but nobody's gonna get to know them.
Right.
Hey, Tim, this is Collin Brown, local legend car driver in Virginia. So, So right now I'm currently
He's never ready for that.
I'm currently right now a freshman in college at Liberty University, getting a degree in business communications. So,
Liberty University, you said?
Yep, Liberty University.
I went to school right down the road. Glenville State College.
Where'd you go?
Glenville State.
Okay.
So,
Right down the road, about an hour. We actually played you guys in football in preseason.
how about that?
That's great.
That's cool.
We got our butts kicked.
What advice would you give to someone coming out of college looking to get into motorsports?
You know, you gotta be persistent. You know, getting to the next level and, you know, going from the late models to, you know, be persistent, you know, present yourself properly. You know, put together a fantastic resume, put together a marketing plan, spend tons of time on it. A lot of guys take that stuff for granted. They just, you know, hey, give me money and let me go put your name on the car. It's more than that. You know, you gotta promote and sell those companies. And don't be afraid to not, you know, if you need, let's say, hypothetically, $20,000 a weekend to race at what you want to do, don't be stuck on trying to get $20,000 from one person. You know, one of the things that I've learned over the years is it's a lot easier to ask someone for $500 than to ask someone for $20,000. So if you got to go get, you know, 50 companies for $500 to reach your goal, that's a lot easier to ask, you know, your local business or Ace Hardware or whoever it is for $500 rather than these big bucks. So, you know, just keep some of those things in mind, and, you know, and think about the business and what they're looking for and what they want out of it. And that will help you. Don't think about what you want. Think about what they need, how it's going to promote them, and how they're going to sell and, you know, benefit from it.
Good old return on investment.
Yep.
Absolutely.
So now, are you still in school or?
Me?
Yeah.
Heck no.
Why not? It's a continuing.
I got ADD, man. I can't sit in no classroom.
Hey, we'll put you in a simulator for a race car, and you can pretend you're racing while you're studying.
Yeah, I would have to graduate 18 years ago, too. I'm 39 young now.
39 is the new 19 or something like that. Does that sound good?
Gosh, I hope so.
I feel like I'm in my prime.
There you go. All right, well, let me go ahead and let you get out of here, Tim, and go enjoy yourself this weekend. Give me a text back when you find out what you felt about the track and everything.
Absolutely, and I'll touch base with you in the next couple of weeks. I'm going to be sorting out the sponsorship and the schedule, and we'll be announcing probably in the next 30 days, you know, what we're doing as far as the trucks, Xfinity, and potentially even some sprint stuff next year. So
there you go. Get up with Joe Falk with the 33 team. we just had Ryan Ellis on here. You might get up with him sometime, and who knows?
I heard him gabbing for a minute. Ryan's a good buddy, so.
There you go.
Is he down in Homestead, or is he here?
He's not going to be at Homestead. He ran the Phoenix race, and so I don't think he's running anything this weekend.
Okay. Well, very good, guys. I appreciate it. You have a wonderful evening.
Go ahead and give a shout out to your sponsors before you boogie.
RaceDaySponsor.com.
There you go. Don't forget that one now.
Have a great night.
You
See you
too.
guys.
Right.
Talk to you later. Bye bye. Oh goodness. I got an
He's
email.
sponsoring himself then, right?
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's whatever you can bring to the table.
Yeah, gotta do what
you
you
know.
gotta do.
I know that a lot of the Xfinity teams are coming down in their price packages to get out there and run a race, and it's almost at the point now if you go out there and run, and if you finish better than at least the last two places, you'll be able to pay for it. And
So what do you think you get paid in the Xfinity
Is it like a
series?
break-even deal?
yeah, it's sort of kind of like that. I mean, say for instance you get $10,000 to go rent a ride. Okay, you go out there, you complete the race, and you win $20,000, something like that. Then that's the extra money you got in there. The race team has gotten their 10 grand, and however you decide to set up the rest of the split. So,
So what do you get in the Xfinity series if you, like, say, finish 33rd?
well, I can tell you
They
that.
usually post it, don't they?
Yeah, I just go to like jski.com. and
Was it,
find
is it
out.
like 20 grand? Or more than that?
Well, Xfinity is going to be less than Cup for a 30th place
Xfinity.
finish. But I don't know. I mean, that's sort of the theory behind the start and park guys too.
Yeah.
You know, they're not planning on using an extra set of tires. You know, they
You're
go
out there
out
making
there.
about 20 laps.
Hey, when
and
the tires
call it
wear
a day.
out, bring it on in.
Yeah.
All right.
You don't have another set.
Well, they probably do, but it's like the less we need to do, the more money we save. You know.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, Talladega. The lowest paid person was 40th place. He got 13,688.
Okay. Well,
That's not bad.
Next
that may not
person,
pay for your trip though. Quite.
Brendan Gaughan got paid 20 grand. That was 39.
Yeah, but he doesn't
Okay.
need the money.
Yeah, he's got a casino for that.
But most of the drivers got paid high teens to high 20s,
Mm-hmm.
up to about ninth place.
Is that just the team?
That's the paycheck for the race.
And so are the drivers like on piecework where they say, regardless of how you finish, you're going to
Contract depends upon how they write the contract. I know exactly what you're going to ask.
Yeah.
There is no set formula as to how much you get paid. There are some drivers that will go, if you will give them a ride seat, they'll go run the race and not even get paid.
I would do that.
They would want to be able to get their name out there in front of everybody.
Right.
Yeah.
Joey Logano, who won, he got 57K plus. Brian Scott second, 46. Austin got 37. Now here's the JJ Yaley. He got 41.
So again, Xfinity, you know, again, that may not quite pay for the trip down there. I mean, it's
Plus whatever
it's
you get
money,
out
but
of
you
that,
need your. I mean, your
Yeah.
sponsors are paying the bill, and then that's just money to kind of throw back in the account for.
Well, now like Talladega wasn't that much to run because most of the guys are coming from that close of an area going to
Yeah.
Charlotte and everything. And so, hey, it's not that much. May cost them maybe $3 grand to get down there, pay the
However
team.
many sets of tires, they got to buy their sets of tires, right?
Yeah, they do
When they
have to
get
buy
to
the
the
tires.
track,
So
so
they,
That's
but
gonna
you
be-
got to remember, they may only buy 2 fresh sets, or maybe
Well,
one
that's
fresh
true.
set.
If you know you're gonna be a
And the
starting
other ones
part,
are
yeah.
going to be
Yeah.
no, even the guys that are running full race,
Oh, really?
even Cup teams.
Oh, really? Okay.
When I was out there with Mike Annette, with Ryan Preece, who is it we had also on there? The cutie, Kyle Fowler. These guys had 2 fresh sets of tires. Everything else were used.
Okay. Well,
So
So I mean,
where did the
practice
sets come
tires,
from?
practice tires.
yep, they'll take the practice tires and run a few laps and set them aside, use them for the race.
Yeah.
these are guys that can't afford to buy
5 sets of tires.
5 sets of tires for the weekend.
Yeah.
When you're talking $1,000 a tire. So that's like 20 grand right there. So that's one, you guys up in the upper area are paying that much for all the tires.
That's what I'm saying. So Logano winning 57,000. I mean, that may pay one of the bills for the weekend, but that's not like it's paying for the trip or anything.
Well,
so
now you got sponsor dollars in there too.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. So they're paying the.
So he may be
largest
getting half of the
portion
purse,
Okay.
or he may get all the purse. He may get 3/4. He may get 10%.
But it's the marketing's where the money is.
Yep. No matter when you take and go out and you hunt for sponsors for a driver or a team, whatever you find, your percentage is already preset. Whether it's 10%, 15%, 20%, it's preset. You bring the dollars in, they know how much is coming out to you, and you go right along that. So the marketing people are the guys that are always making it. The lawyers are always the ones that are making it. Every
Don't
contract,
forget business, go to
Yeah.
law school.
Yeah.
you know, every contract,
Yeah,
6
lawyer can
inches
sponsor
tall,
himself.
somebody's bound to charge 10 grand for that little document. But yeah, every time you try to do something, whether it's with NASCAR, whether it's with teams and sponsorships, everybody has to get into that dollar amount. So when these guys go out, and I'll tell you a story. Ashton Lewis used to be a late model driver here. He ran Nationwide / Xfinity / Bush.
Yeah, right.
And he was running for Civil Air Patrol. A group had contacted me through one of my sponsorship sites and wanted to put some money on his car for a couple of races. The guy, it was like a local Home Depot site type setup. They had like 80 or 90 stores, something like that. Well, the father was going to retire and leave it to the sons, and the sons, they were all racing guys. They loved racing, especially NASCAR. So they were going to put him on the on the hood of the car. You know, happy retirement dad or whatever it was going to be. I called up Ashton, told him everything that was going on. He was all, oh, cool, great. Well, we can always use extra money. Said, all right, here's my PR people, my marketing people that you got. They'll set up the contracts and everything for it. And I said, okay. So I called them up, and then a couple months later, I find them on somebody else's car. The marketing group took the money, even though it was originally going to Ashton, wound up going to one of the Green brothers because they had a bigger name. So it's one of those things that nowadays somebody comes to you and they're talking about sponsoring with somebody. Put it in writing. Get it in writing. That way, when you go to take it to somebody, they're definitely going to get the money. You're definitely going to get your percentage, which I got 0 of. I would have got 10 grand for that deal. But there's just so many things you got to be careful of nowadays. It's not like the good old days where it was a handshake. I mean, when my first sponsorship I got when I was racing late models was through the internet, through the NASCAR chat room. 10 grand a year to race for 3 seasons, all televised races that we had in the late model series at that time. And that was it. And it was, hey, and send a check. That was it. I was happy. And he was happy because we did everything he wanted.
Yeah.
And we had a lot of fun with it too. We brought him down here, put him in an enduro race. Back in the old days, the enduro races here would field 100 cars and try to run for 125 laps. The person that wins won $1,500.
At Langley?
At Langley. 3 wide.
Oh, how'd they all fit on the track at one time?
3 wide.
Well, that's not even the hard part.
hard
The
part.
hard part is when the
Avoid
cars start
direct
dying,
cars.
they leave them on the track.
Yep, you got to dodge. Have you ever been to an enduro race?
Yeah, we went to the season ender at Langley last year, and the last race of the day
Yeah.
was an
Day of
enduro.
destruction.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, think about as many cars as you saw there. There were probably about maybe 40 cars.
Yeah, I think so.
Think
But probably
3
less than that.
Think 3 times that amount. The starters would be at the start-finish line. Car number 110 is at the entrance of turn 1.
Well, and it's not like a sanctioned, not a sanctioned race, but Xfinity or a series race where
Yeah.
the cars are all the same size. At the enduro race at Langley, there's the old Matador station wagon, and then
Yeah.
there's
Oh,
the
wow.
little Cinquecento Fiat, and,
Yeah.
and they're all different sizes.
Now, when they were doing 100+ cars, they were using the standard 8-cylinder big steel cars. So you didn't have anything small out there because it got crunched. It had no chance of survival.
Was it a set number of laps, or how does this go?
125 laps.
125 laps.
And if you
How would you ever score that many cars?
you have to have a scorer, and you have an official that stands down in front of the scorers.
the
And every
team
ti-
has a score.
Yep, the team has a score. And nowadays
I hate that
they use the
Take my word for it, we won.
Yeah.
well, see, the thing is, you have officials up there also watching the cars, and when somebody was getting too many laps too fast, they would start checking the times and
Oh.
say, okay, there ain't no way you were doing 12-second laps, so you've been disqualified for cheating.
Okay.
So, and I actually had some help to do that a couple of times up there.
I met one of the wrecker guys. Had some furniture refinished, and that's his day job. But he drives the wrecker at Langley on the weekends.
Well, let's interview Kay. Were you expecting Al to call in?
Al was originally going to call in. He's out in the public doing stuff with
But he
people.
can't.
So
That just means it's dinner time.
Is
yeah,
he-
must be. Must be.
Whatever he told you, that just means it's
Is
dinner
Al
time.
getting ready for the Jeff Gordon retirement party?
Yeah,
I
so
don't know.
let's,
Should have asked
Yeah, I
him.
didn't
Let's-
get my invitation. I'm kind of
Yeah.
bummed about that.
so,
But yeah, he said he would like to see Jeff win, but he thinks Kevin's going to win.
Mm-hmm.
okay,
So-
well,
Or Kyle Busch, 1 and 2.
that's a man with experience right there. So
Yeah.
We'll
take,
I mean,
we'll take his word for
Yeah.
it.
My prediction was Kevin would win. What was your prediction?
I think Kevin's what I had originally. I don't know.
I think I have Logano just because he made it last year, but I was off.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you'll have to
Yeah.
talk to Kenseth about that one.
I'll just go with Harvick at this point.
I think I had Kenseth and Kenseth and Harvick.
Well, next week we'll have to get him to pull out his notes.
And I don't
see how
know who else I
everybody did.
had in the final.
When did you pick?
Maybe I had,
We picked all these before. At the beginning,
before this
When the
Chase,
chase started?
when the Chase first started.
right
yeah.
after Richmond.
I can't remember who else I had.
I don't even know what I did with the sheet by now.
I may have
I
had
don't know.
Kyle.
I never
I don't know. I don't think I had Kyle in there though, because Kyle's never done well in the Chase format. He usually
Yeah.
ducks out sometime in the middle of it. So, but okay. So, who you thinking this week?
I don't see how you can bet against Gordon. I mean, he doesn't have the
Wouldn't be because
fire.
you got all this Gordon stuff
No,
on
no,
now.
he doesn't have the fire. I think at certain other points in his career, he's more of a statesman kind of NASCAR driver now.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. It's depends on who's writing the script.
Well, we were talking about it on the way over here, and so the one thing about Gordon though, he's always had that dramatic win.
Yeah.
So the first time they go to Indianapolis, he wins
won.
that race.
Yeah.
His first win ever is a Coca-Cola 600. You know,
He's a Pepsi.
yeah.
Go figure.
A lot of, well, he may have been Coke at that time. They got,
He was
It's
never
always
Coke.
been Pepsi.
It's always been Pepsi.
there's stand-ups of Jeff Gordon drinking a Coke. Is when Coke became the official sponsor, he switched to
Oh,
Pepsi.
well, now he may have had to do it
Yeah.
because of NASCAR.
Okay, so
That's
he-
like NASCAR
I've
does
seen
send the
them.
drivers to different places to their sponsors.
Yeah, and I'd like to know how much those stand-ups are worth now. You can get, Jeff Gordon holding the Coke, but I've seen them.
eBay!
Yeah, I've
really.
seen them.
Pearce.
So there was a, there was a local convenience store around here that had a stand-up in the back of Jeff Gordon drinking Coke.
Yeah, but as a sponsor,
Coke bottle, tilting her up.
as a sponsor to
Yeah.
Jeff's only had Pepsi.
Yeah.
That's one of the things one of the things he and I have in common.
Yeah. Okay. There you
So
go.
what's Pepsi going to do when Jeff Gordon leaves?
Well, so think back when Richard Petty, I guess when he finished racing or when he won his 200th or whatever, they had those special Pepsi bottle 6-packs with Richard Petty on there. So I'm wondering, if there's some Pepsi, commemorative stuff coming out. What's he got there?
I don't know.
collector cans of Pepsi here, I think, coming
No,
up.
no, I gotta see what's in this one here first. Y'all keep on talking.
So let's go back to Kay here while Roger's over there playing with stuff. So, when did you decide you wanted to be a Jeff Gordon fan, and how far back does that go?
So my husband is active duty Air Force, and we were living overseas in Aviano, Italy, when Armed Forces Network had one channel.
Okay.
And so you watched. What is that?
That's me. I am the world's youngest roller skater. I am also the world's youngest Pepsi Cola drinker.
But so there was only one channel, and I'm a big sports fan. My dad was a high school football coach.
Okay.
So I watched, if it was a
So
sporting
whatever they put
event,
on there, if it was
I watched
sports.
it. And when I was starting to watch WWF before they became WWE,
Yeah, right.
my husband said, this NASCAR thing is okay, but I don't want you watching any more pro wrestling. So,
So you had to give up the wrestling if you were
so
going to watch
yeah, I gave up the
NASCAR.
wrestling. But so I tell people because they're surprised that I am a NASCAR fan, and I say it's controlled aggression is what I really liked in the beginning. And now, having been to races and being lucky enough to have a hot pass, it's the professionalism and the engineering part of the sport that I really wish I knew more about, because that to me is obviously what they do on the track is amazing, but all the things that happen prior to getting the car to the track is really, to me, what's fascinating.
Yeah. Yeah, I think to be a fan of NASCAR, so you have to know more about the sport, and you have to get caught up on all the personalities and the soap opera around NASCAR. So you can't just say, oh, well, I'm going to watch this race. Well, they're all doing the same thing. How do you keep up with this? What do you get out of watching this race?
Is that damn I saw?
But it's it's the strategy during the race. It's when are they going to pit, this, that, and the other, and things that happen throughout the race, or again the rivalries. With anybody that didn't know going into the race with Martinsville that something was a potential to happen. There with Logano and Kenseth.
Right.
But that's what you're watching for. You're watching for somebody else. This week somebody's going to get some payback. So.
Well, and it's the passion. I'm the 122nd game of the baseball season. Yeah, I shouldn't say it that way because that's the end of
well,
the
I'm the
season
same way when it
going
comes
on
to
playoffs.
baseball. So we don't have a local team, so it's kind of hard to get fired up about game number
unless you
80
count the
out of
Nationals.
160. But yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Or the
Who's-
third game of the preseason
Yeah, right.
in the NFL.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. But
Yeah.
the exciting thing about NASCAR is my team is there every week. My team has the potential to win. My team has the potential to lose. And it's the sport itself, I think, is very emotional. So I like watching it on TV. I really like being there at the racetrack. I think everybody who thinks that they're a fan ought to get themselves to, if not the Sprint Cup Series or Xfinity, to their local NASCAR track and watch a race. Because it's, honestly, it's just exciting seeing the Legends race.
If you think it's
those
a
are fun
dumb
races.
sport,
Yeah.
but until you've been to a race, you can't understand. I think most people that are like, I don't get this whole NASCAR thing, but you go to the race, you're like, actually that was pretty exciting.
Most everybody.
Way better than I thought it was going to be,
Absolutely.
and that usually hooks people if you're going to like NASCAR at all. If you haven't been, once you go to a race, you're like, oh wow, now I think I can get into this.
Now, like
a
most
little more.
people I've taken out to Langley, we'll get garage access, go down to the pits, and they get to talk to some of the people, the crews, the drivers that I know, and they get down there in the middle of all of it, and I know of nobody I've ever taken down there that is not ready to go right back out there again.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's
I took
exciting.
To give an example, y'all met Anastasia from Russia.
Yeah.
Tennis player, Hampton University, said, hey, come on out. We did the thing right here. We had her in here for a conversation with the racing and everything. Took her out. We talked racing afterwards. And then that Saturday, I took her out to Langley. And now anything comes around, like the D4D, they have the D4D card, and she's out there taking pictures with herself and everything else with it. And Anastasia.
Yeah.
Yep. She was out there last night.
So you were watching it on Armed Forces television.
Armed Forces.
And
Everybody
so
has
what
a
made
problem
you?
where
Yeah,
have
exactly.
Mhm.
So what made you decide
What's in that
that
coat?
Jeff Gordon is the guy I like out of all the driver choices you had?
Well, it was
You're a bandwagon.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
one
mean,
out of 43.
I was for all the good-looking guys at that
Okay.
point. No,
Okay.
my best friend from high school and I went to college together at University of Arizona. We're
Okay.
actually both radio television majors at the time. Now it's a fine
Okay.
arts mass
I see
communications
radio, TV,
degree,
I'm trying to
right?
say.
Yeah.
Right. And so I said, I'm watching this and I really like it, but I don't know anything about it. And her dad was a mechanic in the Air Force, and so he followed racing all his life.
Okay.
And I said, who's your driver? And she said, 24 Gordon. And I said, okay, I'll watch Gordon.
Uh-huh.
And so I started watching Gordon, and so this is 1997,
Okay.
1998, and
He's still in his heyday.
and he's winning everything. In fact, they showed
Yeah.
bumper stickers that said anybody but Gordon.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard not to back a winner.
Yeah.
And then I didn't, I really didn't want to be a junior. I like junior.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like junior fans.
Mm-hmm.
Why not a 43 fan?
I am a 43 fan. And
I couldn't tell it.
Well, I don't have my jacket yet. When Gordon retires, Eric Almirola will be my driver.
Okay. Good.
I'll tell Eric that.
You inherited at least one Gordon fan. Yeah.
Oh,
Well, that's the hard part. You think about it for the Gordon fans. If you've been hardcore Jeff Gordon all this time, it's like, now what am I going to do next year? When you lost Dale Sr., it's like they had Junior to go to for the most part. I guess
Yeah.
most of them went over, but if you lose your driver, you're like, now what do I do?
Yeah, my wife went from Dale Jarrett to Dale Jr. because he inherited the number.
Okay.
Now, what are you going to come out for the Denny Hamlin race next year?
if we're here, we're expecting an assignment change. So.
You better not.
We just have to fly back in, I guess.
Really?
And how is
Yeah,
that?
Let's Talk Racing gonna fly me back in for
Gordon will be there, I'm sure. He'll be
But-
there
Let's see, Eric.
hanging
Eric
around
likes
covering
to,
the race or doing something.
Let's
He'll
see,
be
if y'all
in the media
sponsoring
next
Eric,
year.
Eric likes to run that race.
that? Yeah, it'd be nice. I'd like to see it.
I was, where was it?
You wear that jacket,
Oh.
and Jeff is liable to autograph it himself and all that.
I got to shake Jeff Gordon's hand
Okay.
before driver introductions.
Uh-huh.
It was very exciting for me. I don't know what it was like for him, but it was very exciting.
Okay. Well, for you, it was kind of like, hi,
Oh,
Jeff.
hey, here's a cool.
He's K-size. I like him.
Here's something we like to do sometimes with our drivers and stuff that we talk to sometimes. I'll ask him, I said, what is something a fan needs to do so that when they get your autograph, you'll remember the next time you see them?
And they say,
Oh, there's lots of neat things they
Yeah.
say.
"Can
But-
you say him in this venue?"
Sure, we can say anything we want. We're not governed by FCC. I mean, we could do the words that, what's his name used
Oh,
to say.
George Carlin.
Yeah, we can do all those if we want to. But,
We got the HBO rating here.
yeah, Infinity X. Yeah, I mean, it's from signing boobs to, we actually, I hate to say this, we were talking with Eric Jones at Richmond last fall. And I think it was last fall. It may have been spring race. But anyway, he run one of the Xfinity cars. And we were talking to him after the race. And this was still while he was still an up-and-comer. Not everybody had a lot of light on him yet. So he didn't have a lot of PR directing him everywhere. So I was sitting there, and we were probably talking about 30, 45 minutes after the end of the race that night. And the girl that was with me, one of the interns, she went to turn around and fell over somebody's airline luggage that stuck it behind her while she was talking. And she just fell over, butt over tea kettles, and he went to help her up. Some of Johnny Davis, JD Motorsports teams came over and were helping her get up and everything, It's just, she did actually hurt her butt pretty good because that was a hefty little thump. But I said, well, I reckon that ranks as one of those things that you'll remember her the next time you see her. He says, yeah, probably so. Because it's always hard. I know I have personal satisfaction when I go to a race and I run up into somebody and if they'll recognize and say, hey, hi Roger, how's it going? And, a lot of the drivers that we have on here that I've known for many years, it's always fun to be able to do that. Some of them I have jokes with that, one guy, I'll let him remain nameless this point in time, but I asked him when he first started in the series he was racing, and I said, do you get a lot of autographs? People recognize you when you go to the stores. No, not really. I hardly ever get an autograph. I says, I'll tell you what, once a month we're going to have you call in. You're going to do a report on your series of racing, and so that you're going to get 15 minutes every month. And at the end of the year, I asked him again. I said, "Now how's it going?" He says, "Yeah, I have definitely got more autographs, but of course his racing had gotten better too. So it was sort of like a trade-off joke." And I ran into him at Martinsville the spring, and I said, "Hey, where's your entourage?" He said, "Oh, they left a little earlier." And when he was walking over toward me, he was just dressed up, a hat on, and and a jacket. Nothing really spectacular. 3 or 4 people come out of this racing tent over here, come over, get his autograph and everything. Didn't even realize I was parked right behind his car or anything. So I was talking with him. I said, "So how's it going now? Everybody recognize you?" And I said, "Oh my God, don't even get me started." So, I mean, and you guys probably know who I'm talking about.
Not really.
He won, all right, let's put it this way. He won Talladega and he's won Daytona and not in the Cup Series.
Okay, Peters.
Yep,
Oh, okay, yeah.
Timothy Peters.
Oh, yeah.
Timothy Peters, you talk about Jeff Gordon being a spokesperson. Timothy Peters would be another excellent spokesperson. I don't think I've heard that boy curse any, even when he got pissed off at somebody at Martinsville in a wreck. Kept a civil head. And
But honestly, before last season, if you told me in the next 3 years Matt Kenseth is going to go after somebody in between the haulers and knock him to the ground, and he's going to intentionally wreck somebody,
you'd say, where the hell did he get
race?"
that pair of balls?
No, he's never had
He
that.
could have easily been voted the most boring driver
Yeah.
in NASCAR
Well,
between him and
Until
Blockhead Newman.
No,
one of the two.
Ryan has gotten some spiffs going
But, I mean,
before.
I'm talking about being boring though.
Oh,
Isn't that the whole reason why we have the chase?
Yeah.
Matt Kenseth became
Well,
the
yeah.
champion, and,
Yeah.
and nobody liked it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's it. Yeah, between him and Kurt Busch
Yeah.
winning, so they had to come up with a different format. And I think some of the changes were even based on Jimmy winning
Yeah, Jimmy wins
year
6
after
times.
year. That I
Yeah.
think they kept trying to say, okay,
I
let's
think
think
I
of
got
another format where we
Yeah.
may get a different winner or something in there.
Yeah.
you can
I-
still
yeah.
find places. I even think on J-Ski they still do it. What the finish would be, the points wise,
Oh yeah.
without the chase format.
hmm
Well, this would be
I have to tell you,
Gordon's seventh.
Jeff would be in 10th.
Right now,
That's right now.
Yeah, but
Oh,
this
so would he
be
have
his
made
seventh
the,
championship, though.
would he have pointed his way in if he had not won Martinsville? He would not have pointed his
No.
way in. Okay.
He's
Yeah, I was curious about that because that became a battle, and some of the faster cars that day took each other out. So
Right.
I didn't know whether he would make it, or not.
But yeah, he was down like 10th, and Harvick was up in first.
Well, don't you think that was kind of interesting that after that, was it Biffle that tweeted, free Matt, hashtag free Matt? But I didn't hear a lot from the other Gibbs drivers about how, if they were defensive of Kenseth or if they were just silent.
In secret, they were good
Yeah.
going Matt.
Yeah,
And
Denny
public,
was
I don't know what
making
the hell they
his.
did.
Denny made his opinion known. So he
Yeah,
said
Denny wasn't.
he felt
afraid
like
to
it
talk
had
about
to be done. He
Yeah.
felt like that, and he felt like that's what a lot of the other drivers, felt like the same way that he did. That at some point you have to send a message, that what's been going on the track, most recently is not going to be acceptable.
Right.
And if NASCAR is not going to do something about it, then I have to do it myself. And
Now-
so that's kind of what it came down to, I guess.
Now the Air Force, are they going to continue their sponsorship with Eric still?
That is way above my pay grade.
Well, yeah, he would have known. Scott would have known what it was.
Well, it's actually handled by the recruiting arm of the Air Force.
Right.
And so, as far as I know, that they will still be on the car.
I mean, at least through 2016.
Next season, yeah.
Okay.
But and Smithfield's been a very good partner
Oh, yeah.
to the Air Force. As far as they actually paid for some hoods because they wanted a date that the Air Force had for the hood, and so they said, okay, let's make a deal and we'll put you on the hood at another time, but we'll pay for it. So they've been a good partner.
Cool.
And I see that they're doing a lot more sponsorship with NASCAR itself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In fact, I wouldn't.
Yeah, Smithfield is the official something, whatever.
Official
what
release.
Yeah.
No, they sponsor. Is I don't know if it's the.
No, they have the helicopter.
It's the, yeah, it's the
Yeah,
overhead
the blimp.
video. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Your overhead
Yeah.
footage is provided by
By Smithfield
Smithfield,
Foods.
whatever.
Mhm.
So. It is
Well,
what
so
it
if
is.
you've been cheering for Jeff then for 20 years,
Poor thing.
I guess over the last maybe 5 or 6 have been probably rough. Or actually, his last championship was while it was still Winston Cup, right? So once it became the Nextel or
Oh, that was
Sprint format, then he hadn't won a championship since
Right.
then anyway. So.
Right.
yeah, the format, when they changed the format,
He would have won that
he
year.
would have won that year, and when
Oh,
he
really?
did, he lost.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's not, yeah, it's about championships, but why are those Cubs fans Cubs fans?
Well, yeah. Well,
Right.
trust me, I don't feel sorry for any Jeff Gordon fan. He's won more than his share of races. So,
Right.
if he had been on a little streak, now where he didn't win those championships that they were hoping he was going to win, or he still was consistent and won races throughout. There's been very few years that you could say he didn't win at least a race. I mean, I think he was on a streak from last year sometime to the Martinsville race he hadn't won.
Mm-hmm.
So, but he was hot last year, right? So he was winning a lot of races
Yeah.
early in the season.
Hot and cold
So-
running water
Yeah.
makes a perfect bathtub.
But do you think that there's something consistent in the drivers that are new to the series when they're single and they're up and coming? It seems like like Kyle Busch, on fire.
Mhm.
There wasn't anything he couldn't do with a race car. Just so amazing. Tony Stewart, even Jimmy Johnson at the beginning of his career. Just then they get, I don't know, comfortable. They get married. They settle down. They start to have a
They
life
chill.
outside of racing, and seems like they slow down a little bit.
Yeah, I think some of that is true, and then some of it just racing karma catches up to you. When you win so much early on, it kind of evens. It has a way of evening itself out. So sooner or later, you're going to have to take the good with the bad. I don't know.
I mean,
They claim that they don't have any less desire if you go out there and run hard, or that they're not going out and trying just as hard as they were before when they're not winning.
yeah, I mean, you get out there, and in your mind, you're running as hard as you can, but you had this bad wreck a while back. Now, Kyle Busch, thankfully, he's been lucky at this point that hasn't bothered him. He's been able to run his ass off, get out there, win some races, place in the top, get his points up, into the chase, and still into the chase all the way down to the Final Four. And who knows, later on, he may barely hit somebody or hit somebody just wrong, and all of a sudden that pain that he had from that big crash is going to sneak into his brain, and all of a sudden, man, that hurt. And how in the world did that hurt? I barely tapped the guy. And then, who knows, that's one of those things that'll start eating away at you. Oh, I don't want to get into that again. Let's back off a little bit.
And I think it's almost more the distraction, not necessarily the negativity of an accident or I'm in personal jeopardy. It's just the distraction of the job that never ends. I mean, you see those guys at the
I
racetracks.
think that's probably a good thing
and
too. Yeah.
it's amazing the accessibility for the fans. And not just the drivers, but the guys in the garage. You can ask them anything. They seem to have time for everybody. And I'm trying to think of other professional sports where you go up to RG3 and say, "Hey, excuse me, I was just wondering what kind of shoes you're wearing tonight," or
Go check out my YouTube video, baby. Now, these guys both have knowledge of going out to IRHA, drag racing and stuff, and out there at Dinwiddie.
I haven't been to a drag.
I've never
race.
been.
Not the drag
I've never
racing,
been out
but
there.
the road racing stuff with
Oh
the
yeah,
Yeah,
it was
VIR.
Yeah, VIR.
VIR. They went out there, had a good time, able to talk to just about anybody out there.
Oh yeah, I love the sports car racing. I mean, you can pretty much walk up inside the into the shop.
It's a lot
and
like
start
the
talking
drag
to them.
racing environment that
Yeah.
the haulers
So
are right
fan
there.
friendly.
You walk right
around.
past everything. There's
You're
no
basically
like,
walking in the garage area.
there's no
Yeah.
pass, necessary.
Yeah, and the
be
reason
able
I
to
was saying
go
about
up
the drag
there.
racing, because we had, not that long ago, several drag racers in there, one of them being a world champion,
Okay.
female, in Pro Mods. And she's IHRA. And she says, yeah, anytime you come out to any of their venues or anything, you can walk right around, walk up, talk to whoever. And it's not like you have to have a pass, Got to show them a hot pass. Can't get out here unless you got a hot
That's
pass.
what I like about sports car racing. You don't really need any of that. You just kind of walk around wherever you want.
You were getting ready to say something.
No, I was just gonna ask, but it's the money that requires those things.
Yeah.
So
What?
right, so now NASCAR, if you're gonna put 40,000, 70,000, 90,000 people in the stands, and that means you've got to limit access.
Mhm.
And so how do you limit access? You limit access to the people, to sponsors, to people who have paid an extra bit to get
Yeah.
a cold pass or a hot pass.
Yeah, that's when each team has a limited amount of people they can give hot passes to, how many give cold passes to. The tracks apparently nowadays have a limit on how many media people they can give passes to. Seems like everybody wants to be a part of the media, whether they've got a little blog that they do once every year. They're sending in stuff to try to get in. So you never know. I help out some of the drivers, whether it's websites, whether it's their sponsors' websites. So whenever I have an issue, I just pick up to a ringy ding. Hey, I need a hot pass. Which race? And so that's some of the perks. You guys got it made since y'all are part of sponsors anyway.
Well,
You're part of the group then. I mean,
so there's supposed to be a big party. So after this race, I guess a retirement party, right? At the
I
track,
don't know if you
maybe,
get
or at some
invitation yet.
venue. Is there some big
I don't-
party
I
after
think it
the
might be in
race?
Florida somewhere.
Well, yeah, of course it will. I'm just thinking if they are doing a party after the race, suppose he wins the race, he'll never make it to that party because NASCAR will have him running all over the place. You know.
you know what?
right.
At the end, after the end of that race, up to that awards banquet point in time, after the race, he won't have to worry about anything with them because I'm retired from racing.
Yeah, well, that's true.
I'm gonna show up to get my thank you trophy and
Yeah,
check.
but he's
But, yeah,
he's a good trained
You have
Right,
to
but I'm
go
just saying,
along
if
with
he
what-
wanted to say, "Psst, I ain't having to cowtail to you guys anymore.
Yeah.
You ain't gonna send me where I don't want to go."
But he's still going to be working. I mean, as a commentator, he's still
Oh yeah,
got to play the game.
his down being going to be turned over to
Yeah.
media.
And I think it'll be just like the Oscar. That there's all those after parties, and so if you win the Oscar, you go wherever you want to go
Yeah.
because everybody wants a piece of you.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know that. I read about that in magazine.
If you're only the fly on the wall, right?
Yeah.
So, have you got thoughts into who you think you're going to go with next year? You said Eric, right?
Yeah, Eric Almirola will be my driver. I want to see Eric Jones get a full-time ride. I think he's really exciting to watch. Chase Elliott did really well in the Xfinity series last year. I think he's looking forward this year to next year, and so maybe his focus hasn't been on the
And he might
Xfinity.
be the people. So the Gordon fans who maybe are unsure who they're gonna go with, they may naturally go to Chase just because hey, somebody's still gonna be in the 24 car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
maybe I stick with the 24 car. I don't know.
A lot of people did that when Junior went to the 88.
Right.
88 team from
But
Dale
I will
Jarrett
have a
shifted over.
favorite television commentator.
Yeah, there you go. That'll be an interesting booth.
Dale Jarrett, right?
Who's gonna get in a word? Do you think?
Daryl Waltrip and Jeff Gordon.
Yeah, between those two during the race, I'm not sure they even need. What's the?
Dale,
Mike Joy.
What's the
DW
Mike Joy? I'm not sure they even
DW
need
gets
Mike
his
Joy
piece
now
of
in the
before-
booth.
So,
Yeah.
I was
Couple.
under the impression that Gordon was replacing Darrell Waltrip.
No, actually,
from
Larry
your lips to God's
McReynolds.
ears.
Larry McReynolds left the booth, so that's my understanding is that Jeff Gordon is going in the booth. Larry McReynolds is going to have another role out on the track somewhere.
Or
But
he may be moving further up in the
yeah,
chain of command, so to
yeah.
speak.
Or
So
finally-
I thought they were still going to team up Gordon and Daryl and Mike Joy.
Oh
It
boy.
almost made me want to just listen to MRN radio at that point.
Yeah, at least we know Joe Moore. Now I tell you, now you're talking about up and coming people. You guys got a chance to talk with J.A. Jr.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah.
What do you think about him?
Yeah, well, I mean, seems like he's got a lot of talent. I mean, it's going to all depend on.
In a way, he kind of reminds me of Kyle Larson just a little bit. In a
Sorry,
way,
you
just a
get
little
put in
bit.
the dark on this one.
No, that's okay. I'm catching
You
up.
have to go watch one of the previous shows. A guy named J.A. Jr.
But I mean, he's got to. So if he's going to, I don't know whether he ever heard back from Rev Racing or anything yet. So
I think it's later on in this month they'll hear something back.
so if he can get himself in the cars and perform, then he may be somebody to watch in the future. But that's in today's world, he's still a ways from being able to go full time in the trucks or
Young driver.
Xfinity or anything like that.
got lots of drive. He seems to be a really good driver, or as they would say, a wheelman.
So as far as teams go, so let's say Furniture Row wins the championship. Are they going to add another team?
I think they're scheduled to, but not next year. I think they're scheduled to add somebody in 2017. I think they're going to have a second car.
Yeah, think of something on that. And then who is it?
I think it's freaking Smith,
Penske's
isn't it?
added 2 teams.
What now?
Penske's going to add 2 teams.
Oh,
Oh,
Penske's
next
going
year.
to 4.
Yep,
Wow.
Okay.
from the 2 and the 22 to.
Okay. Well, there goes Eric Jones right there.
And Ryan Blaney too.
I don't know that
I don't
Gibbs
think
said-
Eric's is going to go to a Ford.
Well, I don't know. I mean,
Well, Ryan
he's going to
Blaney's
go
gonna
wherever there's an
there for Wood
opening.
Brothers.
Yeah,
So-
he's going to go wherever there's a spot for him on the track. Joe Gibbs doesn't really have a spot for him to move up. I mean, who's leaving Joe Gibbs? I mean, Kenseth?
I don't know.
Will
How,
Kenseth step down in 2 years?
I don't know. When's Kenseth's contract into this? He gets
I don't
going to get
know.
kicked
That's
out.
Time out?
That's what I'm saying. I mean, is
Yeah,
he
it could be that.
planning
too.
on stepping down? Carl Edwards just got there. Kyle Busch, he's not done yet. Denny Hamlin's not ready to quit yet, as
I
far as I
mean,
know.
we have seen drivers basically get kicked out before their contract was done.
Well, I guess
What,
Could
didn't
happen.
wasn't Kurt Busch one of those
it could happen. But I mean,
a couple of years back?
Kenseth has still,
Yeah,
unless
but he had some serious trouble.
Well, it was anger issues.
who's this? Kurt? Oh,
Yeah.
well, yeah.
At Phoenix.
Yeah, well, when
But
you
there's
can't
some
get
good
anybody to
things
sponsor you at
driving.
all,
Yeah.
you know, then that's a big problem
Yeah.
when you're at that level.
All I'm saying, if Matt Kenseth gets kicked out of Gibbs Racing, I will join the crowd fund that gets him a ride.
What in the world?
Because that was, I am not proud to say that I was one of those fans at home when he put Logano into the wall that went whoop hoo.
Yeah.
So,
I don't think I saw a person that wasn't standing and cheering.
That's
Okay.
probably the best thing I've seen all year.
See,
We're
okay, so now as a driver though, how'd you feel about that?
I mean, it had to be done eventually. So, I mean, eventually you got to find out the hard way.
And
Yeah.
and and he is a Saturday night, what we call a Saturday night racer.
Friday night, Saturday night.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
Yeah,
We
but
can't-
you're still, it's his body in the car.
Mhm.
But the thing is when you're when you're coming up through the ranks, you learn about payback. You have a mental notepad. Who did me wrong? All right, we're on the last race of the season. I got some people I got to pay back.
Mhm.
And do not be surprised. It will happen. Have you ever felt you've paid back somebody for something they did to
Oh,
you?
I wanted to pay back people. Might just have to wait till next year for that.
See, so I mean,
You
you
run out of
think
time,
elephant's
yeah.
memories are really
Oh,
heavy
yeah,
and,
no,
and
I know.
stuff. A race car driver's memory. I've got a guy I
We
spot
keep a record
for.
book.
I got a guy that I spot for, and he still says I still got a bunch of people I still owe yet. So I'm not quitting racing until I pay everybody back.
So
I have my own
clean,
contact list.
clean race at Homestead.
For who?
Well, if you look at Phoenix, so
If you're talking about chase drivers, I'm sure there's going to be a meeting. There's going to be a secondary meeting at the drivers' meeting. That's going to be, see these 4 guys here?
Don't
You
touch them.
screw them up, we're going to
Your
put
part. Yeah.
you parking in the garage, boys.
yeah.
If it's
We're gonna find you.
you know, which I feel, as long as it's not like a payback thing, and it's a simple racing incident, you know, who knows? Say you're leading the race. You're Jimmy Johnson, leading the race, and Kyle Busch comes up and tries to nudge you, and you kick loose and then swing back down and smack him, and he gets spun out and hits the rear end of the wall, tears up his car.
Or say they're blocking. You know, you just sit there and hold your line and around to go.
But the thing is it going to be held to a much more tense and higher level of expectation? Jimmy, don't you dare hold him up so he can't
I don't
go.
think those words have
Mhm.
ever been spoken by any NASCAR official. Jimmy, don't you dare.
Maybe Jimmy Spencer.
Well, I mean, you have some guys out there that can make themselves hard to pass.
Yeah.
Ryan Newman does it on a regular basis. He doesn't care if he's
Yeah.
12 laps
Yeah.
down, just like Kenseth, every race, and the leaders try to get by, and he'll make them take all day to get
But
by.
see, now that's
he's
the
not
way-
gonna.
Look what
He's
he
not
did
gonna
to
just get
Collin.
out of your way.
Yeah.
And so you can have guys that are on Joe Gibbs Racing that could be out there, and another guy come along. Well, I'm not going to take this guy out, but I'm not going to make it easy for him to get by because I'd rather see Kyle win the race. Same thing with the Hendrick cars. They could just say, look, I realize it's the leaders trying to come by. I'm not going to interfere with them completely, but I'm not also going to make it easy for them to get by because we want Jeff to win.
Yeah, well,
I think there was a Burt Reynolds movie, right, where they got those semi trucks all the way across the highway.
Yeah, there you go.
and
Yeah,
everybody
yeah. Have
passed.
the little blocker. Yeah.
one of the guys on Periscope was talking about giving pin penalties. See, because now it's all the computer sees it, and you have a guy that interprets what the computer then shows you. What's to keep the guy up there in the box from saying, "Oh yeah, you had one man out too soon. You're going to do a drive-through," and you go back a lap. It's
Yeah.
Well, it's on video now, so
Yeah,
the guy that's going to make that call against one of the 4 cars going for a championship, it's going to be confirmed on video, and there's nothing anybody's going to be able to do to argue it.
but the thing is once
too
they
fast on pit road, things like that.
Once they've set you to the longest line, they can't actually sit there and say, "Well, no, you can scoot back up to number 5 spot."
Right, but I think what you're saying is it's the integrity of the
granted.
of the position that you hold.
Oh, hold on now. Great technology people in this world hacking into the NASCAR system.
Say it isn't so. Wasn't that great though that when Josh Wise got to get into the All-Star race last year, right?
Yeah, so,
Yeah, and that's exactly what it was. Is the Bitcoin, the Dogecoin people figured out that you could vote as many times as you wanted to vote, and they didn't. The technology people at NASCAR didn't close that back door.
Yeah.
And so they got him into the All-Star race by the rules. They followed the rules.
Yeah. I tell you, there's if there's a rule, there's another one right there to be broken.
Well, that'll be for next year. That'll be a new rule for next year.
So
Well, I hope it turns out to be a good race. I hope it's.
potentially you want to have a good
I hope
race.
it's close all the way through, and that there's
Yeah, when you were talking about like Ryan Newman making himself wide, I have no problem with making that driver earn that spot.
Right.
I'm not going to try to put you into the wall, but I'm going to make it awful hard for you to pass me.
Yeah.
I've sat there and watched your buddy and Jeff Burton at Richmond one year. And I was listening on the scanner, and I hate to say, that's one of the worst times I've ever heard Jeff whine. This is back when Everhand was his crew chief, and he was whining on there, get to that spotter, telling him, to quit driving the corner. And Jeff Burton wasn't even blocking low. He would drive the high groove because the tires were wasted. They were toast. And Jeff Gordon kept trying to dive low to go under it, but the tires didn't hold. And all of a sudden he has to slide back up. And Jeff's already got the power off the top and just starts leaving him behind. And he just keeps doing that to keep from going that one lap down. And I don't mind that. That's good racing. If you're gonna win this thing, you gotta earn it. Don't get out there
just as long as you're consistent.
Yeah.
So if Ryan Newman or Jeff Burton was doing that to everybody and not just to the driver that he was paying back, then that's good.
Normally I'll see something like that happening when you've got somebody trying to keep from going a lap down. Because
they're protecting their spot.
Yeah. And it's always, once you get that point where you're one lap down, you're, oh God, now I got to make sure I stay up with him so when their caution does come out, I get the lucky dog.
Right, and if I'm not mistaken, I don't think they give a congeniality award in NASCAR.
No. Maybe put a little bug in your husband's ear. Have the U.S. Air Force Congeniality Award.
No, that's not really their business either.
Well, I was thinking, so if anybody has any old grudges
maybe we should develop our own.
Against Gordon, then there's always that chance they're not going to make it as obvious as Kansas did, but they could always rub the splitter into that tire, cut a tire for him or something like that during the race, and still,
you think so?
Something that could look like a racing incident, because they're like, hey, this guy's not going to be on the track next year. He'll never be able to pay me back. I'm going to make sure I spoil it for him. Or what about Gordon? Gordon could say, hey, this is my last race. I think I'm going to drive this guy into the corner and cause him to wreck, because I'm sick of this guy. Has always got on my nerves the whole time I've been in NASCAR. I think I'm going to wreck this guy. What are they going to do to me?
Now, who would Jeff think the highest about doing that to?
Well, he could do it to Boyer. He could do it to a lot of people. I mean,
Yeah.
Jeff's had problems with a lot of people on the track.
Yeah.
Kenseth will be back out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He had problems with Kenseth before.
Yeah.
Kenseth will be out there this week. You
Carl
never,
Edwards.
you never know.
Yeah.
And if they're running bad, let's just say if you're already out of the hunt, you're one of those chase guys and you're 2 or 3 laps down, you can see your dream has already gone away that day.
Oh, let's hurt
You
somebody else's
could-
dream.
Again. And if Jeff Gordon, if he goes 2 or 3 laps down and now there's somebody out there, let's say Boyer, that maybe says, you know what, I think I'm taking Jeff out. He's not going to win the championship, so they can't get me for that. I still remember what he did to me, so I'm going to spin him out, and he can't get me back next year.
Now, you do have to remember, okay, at least 2 of us in here have racing experience. Okay? When it comes to, oops, I didn't mean to do that, it
Oh,
happens a lot.
No, I see that, and I mean, you can see other sports where
Throttle
that's
stuff.
the same incident. I mean, look at Sue that steps on everybody's hand or foot, or
Oh,
in
yeah.
NFL. So
Yeah.
I think that happens. I, as an outsider and as a fan, I'd like to think that people's professionalism would be a little bit higher than that, and have respect, if not for the driver, have respect for the series and for what he's accomplished. And he's an old man, right? He's everybody's grandpa now. You can't take
Don't
out
wreck
grandpa.
Grandpa. Yeah. Yeah. No,
Yeah,
I
the most of that stuff comes from payback, though. If something has happened to you, somebody ran into you, and you find out from somebody later on they were laughing their ass off because they did it or something like that,
Right.
and then all of a sudden one day the tables are turned, you're going in underneath them, going into turn 3 or turn 1 on the track, and
Right.
they're thinking of, you're trying to decide, well, I can always give a little extra gas. And then, oh God, so I'm sorry, the car pushed real bad. I'm sorry I hit you. Sorry you hit the wall
I had
and
no
tore up your
grip.
car.
Yeah.
Or I got
But-
loose. And
yeah.
Even at Martinsville with Kenseth and Logano, I mean, would Kenseth have done that if he didn't think that the 2 car had intentionally wrecked him on the restart?
No, I think that was just he was.
I
Yeah.
mean, he was angry, he was
He
frustrated.
was fed up with Logano already, and
Right.
then when he got taken out by another Penske car that day
It just-
and had a chance for a win, because he had already nudged Logano early in the race, like kind of drove him into the rear, pushed him up out of the way, and that was probably going to be, hey, that's my message to
Right.
you, 22 car, But he actually had a good car that day that could have possibly won.
Yeah.
But when it come to find out, my day was shot by another Penske car.
Right.
That was just more than he could take.
here's the race car part. If he'd have done that with a little bit more finesse, he could have done it and gotten away with it.
He would have, yeah.
All he had to do is, instead of turning to the right and making sure he hit the wall, turn left, give it a little extra gas.
Oh yeah,
You were
he
going to hit
could've
the wall
spun out.
anyway.
Yeah.
You can kick your
But-
tail up, you hit him, you both spin
Yeah,
out the
he
wall.
could have taken them both out just by going into the turn too hard, stay in the gas and turn left, and he would have just washed right up into him and took them both out.
We have a saying in racing, 8 tires are better than 4. And that's when you get up underneath somebody and you lean on them.
Right.
Yeah.
And you can actually be giving yourself more gas. It's pushing him up a little bit, but you not as much. And then when you turn left, when you get toward the end of the corner, you can pull away from him a lot easier. And he's still got to deal with that pushing condition he's dealing with. And you wanted to say something before.
No,
I
no,
did.
I was gonna say that maybe that wasn't his intention. Maybe he was looking for a little respect in the garage too, and so he wanted. If I'm gonna do it, although when I get interviewed afterwards, I'm not gonna say I did it, but I'm gonna do it so that it's clear to everybody in the stands.
It's a
and
clear
everybody at
message, yeah.
home
Yeah,
That
Yeah.
that was
Too clear.
intentional. Yeah.
yeah.
Too clear.
I mean, I would be surprising how many people came up to him, like incognito type thing, swing by the house. Oh man, that was really cool what you did to Joey,
oh, it was on the radio
Well, yeah, I was gonna
when the
say the
incident
chatter.
happened.
Oh,
if you listen to Radioactive, all the drivers were responding to it, and so was a lot of the crew chiefs. I
And
mean,
spotters.
yeah,
Yeah.
spotters too. And Chad Canal said, "Oh man, that was awesome." He said, "That's the best thing I've seen in forever." And he said, "I bet Matt just gained like more fans than he's had
Oh,
his
God.
entire career."
And you know who I still haven't been able to talk back to?
Who's that?
Joey Spotter.
Oh well,
really?
That
well,
boy.
I
Good
tried
luck
to
with that
warn him.
one.
Did I not tell him on the show that night? I told him that night, and he's like, he was real arrogant about it too, because they're on a 3-race winning streak. And I said, "So, are you guys gonna be keeping a close lookout for the 20 car this weekend?" "No, man. I ain't worried about him. We ain't worried about him any more than anybody else. I was like, okay.
Well, we'll see on
We'll
Monday.
see.
won't we?
Yeah, because when I did talk to Tab afterwards, he says no, don't even ask me for an interview. We've already been told. Mum's the word.
Anything.
You don't want to say anything bad about it. He says I'll get back with you when we're allowed to say anything on it. So
Well, you know, Penske got on the radio with the teams after it happened, and Penske said, everybody stay quiet about it. We have no comment on
Yeah.
any of this. So even the owner was just like, and he got the worst end of the deal. He's like,
Yeah.
no one says anything. You know, we have no comment about it.
Oh,
Make sure you
I'm-
control
I'm sure
Joey's
Tab heard
dad.
that.
You know, somebody make sure we control Joey's dad down there and all that. And, you know, the crew chiefs and
Hockey
everybody, no
Red.
one has any comment.
What's happening in Hockey Red?
Anyway.
But yeah, I mean it's interesting. There's so many times that I'll sit
Covering
there
all the bases there.
and people say, "Do you know anything about that?" And I have to say, "No, I don't know anything about that." And a lot of times, like the guys that are having new stuff coming up, Tim with his thing with the '74 car and stuff, that was just released. Then I already knew about it the 20th of last month, and
You just have to wait.
yeah, we got to be the good guys. Damn, it sucks.
So who you asked the gentleman sitting here with me who their driver who they thought was going to win on Sunday. So who do you think's going to win on Sunday?
Oh, I put mine out there. I think Harvick will win. I would like to see Jeff win as a going away present.
Yeah.
But I think Kevin's going to drive his ass off.
And the conspiracy people would say they won't even inspect Jeff's car this week.
The conspiracy people will say,
He's bringing out all
damn,
the old
NASCAR got
tricks.
hacked. The damn
He's
cameras
bringing
aren't
out all
working
the
on
old
Gordon's
tricks,
crew.
you know, from over the years, and they're not even going to look at his car. Yeah, it looks good to me, Joe.
Got a special Jeff Gordon template.
Oh, yeah, we got a special
Let me
template.
lend you those splitters that we
Uh-huh.
took away from the other teams back.
Well, here's Kyle Busch's splitter from a few
Yeah.
weeks back.
Yeah, we painted it yellow, but this was Joey's splitter from a couple weeks ago. Yeah. Well,
There's just so much stuff, conspiracy theories.
and boy, does that ever get Al riled up when we start talking about the conspiracy stuff.
Oh yeah.
Boy, he gets riled up about that.
And the sad part, a lot of the stuff he knows ahead of time too.
Yeah.
Like you've heard him say, "You watch and see who's going to be doing what." You know, like with Clint Boyer
Yeah,
says there'll be another team he's going to, and then he's going to be going to Stewart.
yeah.
So that was it. But so you'll get little hints every once in a while, and there are certain people I know I can always go to and say, "Hey, what can you tell me about this?" You know, and I won't say nothing till it's told I can say anything. So. But a lot of times, a lot of that stuff is known through the garage. But once again, they're not allowed to say anything. So, and jobs do.
Right. And there's a difference between the unofficial and the official.
Yeah. Earlier you were talking about how much like the drivers take home and stuff like that from the races and things. The contracts. When I was doing this with contracts, you would be surprised. I'm talking to people that are on radio stations. Their contract prohibits them from being on internet stations.
Yeah.
They can't do
Exclusivity.
interviews, can't do nothing. They lock them in, and that's all they can do. Which is sad, because there's a lot of neat people out there. People would like to be able to get opinions from on here, whether it's asking questions here, whether it's sending text to me. Nowadays, I try to remember to turn the phone off. But it's so many neat people out there that are great to have on, even if they're fans.
Yeah. Well, thank you for inviting me. I very much enjoyed it.
Y'all have any more
I
grilling
learned
to
a
do
lot.
on her?
What's that?
Got any more grilling to do on her?
No, I think we beat her up probably
No,
good
they
enough.
Were, they
I
were
mean,
gentle.
we knew that she was going to be.
And she didn't even wear her hat. I don't know about this.
You said you had enough bling on the table, so.
But so I mean, what
You
was?
need to jump on a plane and get down there to Homestead, be there for Jeff's final race.
I would like, if it made a difference to him, I would go.
If he knew you were there.
Yeah. I mean, if he asked me, I'd go.
Uh,
So what do you think about being on this little shindig we do?
No, it's nice. You know, I'm gonna have to, of course, go home and watch the archives and see
See
how-
some of the crazy shit we've done.
Yeah. Well, I did. I told the boys, hey, the guy I play tennis with asked me to come and do the show, and so I'm gonna archive. I'm gonna look and see what the format is, and
There isn't any.
it well, because I joked when Roger said be here at 6:45. I said for hair and makeup 6:45. He said no, you have to bring your own hair and your own makeup.
Did when Al was looking for somebody, a race fan, did you have her in mind when
Yep.
Al was looking for somebody for that
Yep.
Gordon article? Okay.
Yep. She was just a little too late.
Okay.
We didn't have any tennis playing due to all the raining and
Yeah.
stuff, and then
Yeah.
finally did get up with her, got information, but Al already got somebody.
Mhm.
Yeah, when he publishes for Autoweek, sometimes they tell him, like, he had an article, he spent some time with Jeff.
Mm-hmm.
I know you'd have loved to have been the fly on the wall. But did a long, lengthy interview, and then he wanted to get a diehard Jeff Gordon fan to talk to and do an interview with him, that person,
Right.
and then put it all together in one big package.
And
And
I
then-
totally forgot last week to go look for that magazine too. So I guess I'm gonna
Email
have to,
Al,
I'm
tell him
gonna
to bring you
no,
one.
I'll have to Google it. He may bring in his copy, but that'll probably be in
You can get it online.
plastic wrap.
Go to Autoweek.
Yeah.
Go to the Autoweek magazine online, and you'll be able to pull it up.
Okay.
But we'll have to have some more fun with you back on here.
Yeah, especially
Yeah.
what if Jeff wins? She's got to come back and
And
We'll
do
give
my
her-
victory lap.
we'll
I'll do
give
the victory
her
lap around
yeah,
the
we'll give
table.
her the whole hour and she'll just gloat
Yeah,
the entire time about Jeff.
We out here with pom-poms and everything else. Oh, jeez. But no, yeah, because we like to have different people in here too.
Yeah.
If it's something you enjoy doing like this, hey, we'll have you on here often.
Well, it was very enlightening for me because there's obviously a ton about the sport that I don't know anything about.
But just like you were saying earlier, the fans, there's a lot of stuff to learn.
Right.
Whether
Right.
it's standing in the pits and getting until they get Smell TV, you ain't going to get it any better.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
The first race we went to was a Vegas race, and I dragged my husband there. He was initially not the NASCAR fan, and so I dragged him there, and he was like, oh, the things I do for love. And the first, we watched then was the Nationwide, I think, or might have still been the Busch Series back then.
It was awesome.
But we were standing because there's fewer people in the stands. I'll say it that way. So you could basically move all over
Yeah.
the
Get
stadium.
yourself a good spot.
Yeah, and so we went all the way down to the wall, and the cars came around at speed, and he was hooked. That's all it took, because he's an F-16 pilot, and so that same rush, the same speed, the power, the excitement, he was hooked.
Kind of like watching the Thunderbirds.
Yeah,
You know,
Now-
it's like, how did they do that without crashing?
killing each other. Yeah.
Anyway, has he ever gone to the petty driving experience down in Charlotte or anything?
We have not. We tried to do it, and we just couldn't make it happen with the.
We just happen to
schedule.
know one of the drivers.
Yeah.
He did, the Air Force does for certain people the specialty driving, so you learn how to take somebody else's car out, avoid getting spun out. So
Yeah,
he's done.
pit
He's done
maneuvers.
that.
He's done that stuff,
Pick
yeah.
maneuvers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
he.
We can teach him how to do
Yeah,
that.
that'd be a nice surprise present for him. You should.
It's
Look
the,
into
it's not
sending
the first
him
thing
down
I
there.
have planned, but
Yeah, there you go. That would be.
Hey, Collin, you and I, we know how to do that stuff.
Oh,
We
yeah.
can teach him. Yeah, you got to learn how to do that really quick. I mean, because it's basically like when you're racing, you want to move them up, you got to get up there and tap the back end so it kicks up. So they have to turn right because they supposedly know what they're doing. Heaven forbid if they're one of those that they get tapped up and they turn left and just spin it out and smash the wall.
Or they just end up spinning out right in front of you.
Yeah. So
That's
don't
always
ask, why don't you just turn right, catch it, keep digging? But I mean, that's basically all you're doing. You just tap them in the rear, move them
yeah,
around.
we talked about doing that, and he said, I said I want to do it at a super speedway, and I kind of want to do the ride around because I want to go as fast as the car can go up against the wall. I want to experience what that's like, and I can't drive that way, so I want to do the ride around at a speedway.
Come with me. What type of
On
car?
Mercury, on Mercury.
What type? No, what type of
Just-
car you got? I've taken a Ferrari out in Langley before.
I have a '98 Subaru Forester. I don't think she'll hold together at those speeds.
Does Sam Hunt do the thing is it every winter he does it?
I don't know if he does. I think he was just doing it for that one occasion.
Okay, this is to raise money for ALS, and then there were other, I guess it was other charity fundraisers.
You talking about?
But they had the thing in
concert
Richmond.
they had at Langley, or
No, they had a
are you talking
day
Sam?
at Richmond
The
this
Sam Hunt
past
that
winter,
the one that I work with. Sam
and
Hunt.
so they
Oh,
had
you're
one of
talking
those
Sam Hunt, the
driving.
driver, not Sam
Yeah,
Hunt the
yeah.
singer.
Yeah, so
Yeah, I know
the-
Sam
the-
Hunt that one.
Yeah. So they had the driving experience there at Richmond.
Yeah.
Sam got to use those cars as well, and we went
That
up
was a lot of fun.
and did a ride along, on Richmond. And even that, when you're going at speed, you're surprised at how different it is being inside the car versus what it looks like from
It definitely feels
up
like
in the
it feels like a
stands.
roller coaster.
It's
that's
just
for sure.
it's a completely
Yeah,
different
because of
world,
the wind
and it's just so well.
And
It's
the G-force, you go into the corner, just like.
it's so
Yeah.
different
Going into the
from
corner.
even what you might
That would
imagine
be cool.
driving the car on the interstate or something. I mean, it's just so different because you're at speed. It's the horsepower of the car, but you're going down the straightaway, and when you get to the turn and the track, your perspective becomes tunnel vision because all of a sudden the track is like this, and the bottom of the road is like this, and you're now in this like a funnel of some sort, and so it's just really, it's so aggressive. It's so different from what you would think
Oh,
of
yeah.
it, how it would feel, and it feels. The thing I got from it is just feels completely out of control. Probably wouldn't feel that way if you were over there with the wheel, but sitting on that side and everything's like this,
Right.
and then you straighten up and then everything's like this again, and you have that tunnel vision because you can't see all the way around the turn, and you're thinking, how do they not hit somebody on their outside? I mean, almost every lap.
Yeah, but
So-
still.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a whole new perspective.
So if they have that again during this upcoming winter,
Now they
I'll
have.
let Roger know to
I
let
think
you know.
Rusty
so-
Wallace has a
Yeah.
group that does
You
stuff
go
at
up there.
Richmond.
I mean, it's a worthwhile. It's not a super speedway, but
Yeah.
you definitely get the sensation because it's a lot of speed for a small track like that.
Yeah, you
Well,
get
and
up to
I think with the
130,
banking
140.
too, because it's not like you drive down the freeway.
Yeah.
With a lot of banking.
Mhm.
So
Now I have been on Rockingham in a new F-150, getting around it with Mike. Shoot. Mike, one of the drivers used to win the truck series all the time. Mike Skinner.
Oh yeah.
Me and one of the other drivers that had gone with me down there for the inaugural truck race. Mike was in the front, I was in the front, got video of it, and he was in the back with Mike's wife Angie. Okay, and Mike is telling us, about how fast this, how fast that, and doesn't want to scare us. And we said, Mike, you ain't gonna scare us. We both race in NASCAR. I said, you can go as fast as you want. Angie back there going, oh no, don't get him started. So it was fun. And then we went and stopped, like up on the top of turn 4. And you find out in a truck, you figure, oh my God, this feels like you're going to fall over.
Mm-hmm.
But
just walking up the track, like in Talladega,
Yeah.
just walking up the track before the
Rockingham's
race.
really
just
hefty
to-
on that incline too. I was really surprised. I've been there many times, but never really driving through the turns till that day. And then when we stopped,
Can you stop a vehicle at the top of one of the turns at Bristol? Can you
Sure.
stop a car?
without it.
It looked like it would want to fall over.
it would want to feel like it's going to fall
It
over, but
wouldn't
you got a low
slide.
center of gravity for those
Okay.
things. Now you get your Hummer, you might have a little problem.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we did the little tour at Charlotte one time where they take you out on the track on the van, and that's kind of the
Yeah.
thing. They get on the banking and then they stop, and it really feels like the van's going to fall over.
I've been on Dover's track,
Uh-huh.
been on Rockingham, been on Richmond, been on Charlotte. But yeah, Charlotte is fun. Just go down there. And if you do want to go down there, let me know. I'll see if
That'll
I can
give you
hook
the
you up.
sensation of speed. It doesn't have to be Talladega. Charlotte
Yeah.
would give you the sensation of speed.
Charlotte, yeah, you get up to about 160 to 170 in those cars.
Yeah, that would be pretty scary, exciting.
And I know
Well, it's just because it feels out of control.
I took
Again.
a friend of mine who was a Jeff Gordon fan, who lived right
Why
out.
do you make the air quotes when you say that?
Because I can. I'm off screen, so I get to do anything over here. But anyway, when he was a big Jeff Gordon fan, and he used to think because he thought, all these people I talked about, he used to think I was a name dropper. So I said, come on, let's go to Charlotte. He lived right outside turn 3. Never been to a race, always watched it from TV.
Oh, wow.
So I took him out there, introduced him to 2 of the drivers, and set his butt into one of the cars, and I set my butt in one of the other cars. I set him in the Jeff Gordon car, I took the Tony Stewart car. And we went out there and did laps with the guys. You know, and just got going and got going. He came back, and you thought he peed in his pants. He was crying, because it was just one of those things, he had so much fun, and he never expected it. And he said, you know these guys, so you ain't shitting. But Jimmy Kitchens used to be one of the guys that was doing back then. He's now a driver coach for some of the teams.
I've heard the name. I don't know the reference, but I've heard the name before.
He used to race a lot in Bush nationwide. See, I can do that in air quotes too, because it's now Xfinity. Sounds like infinity.
And beyond.
And beyond.
But anywho, y'all ready to wrap up?
May as well, since
May as well. We've been just
2 hours
kicking and
into
getting
it.
it. Oh,
this is usually
it's supposed to be an hour.
It's a 1 hour show.
At 8:01.
It will not go over an hour.
8:01. Geez, it is almost 2 hours.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Everybody there
That was
on
bad.
Periscope, enjoyed
No, you're
y'all keeping up with us and sending in some notes and everything. So we'll catch everybody another time. Let me see if I can do this right. Terry Beth, you joined in at the wrong time. I'm getting ready to shut this thing down. See if I can do this right this time. Oh,
Yeah,
goodness.
that's
Thank
fine.
you.